Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Binky here today and we're going to be taking another look at Clue perfumes. Yes, so I discussed this more in the first video in which I reviewed Warm Bulb, and so I talk about the company a little bit more than I will here, but this is a perfumery that is based outside of Chicago, Illinois, and basically they have 4 fragrances at this time and they opened up in 2022. So with that, what we're going to do is we are now going to look at the notes. We're going to be looking at with the Candlestick. Yes, I'm very curious about this one. So let's check out the notes and we'll try it out. All right, so they're saying that this one came out in 2022. So I think this was one of their original scents. So this is what it looks like, the bottle there. It's kind of like a keyhole. So it'll cost you $140 USD. If you are interested in these and you are not in the US, they have them on sale at Lucky Scent, so you can go check them out and see if they deliver to your individual countries. So there you go. So with the Candlestick, the blood of Christ pours as wax spills down hot iron. Okay, that's pretty intense right there. I mean, there you go, mic drop. I mean, right, that says it all. So, but we will look at the notes. So the notes, for the top notes are cherry communion wine, cinnamon leaf, I mean, they're delivering. And then middle is labdanum, I never say it right, labdanum, yes. Melted wax, burning church incense, base extinguished candle, hot musk. This is wild. This is wild, and I'm kind of living for it. So the impression that they give is smoky, spicy, metallic, hot, and I like it. So there you go. It's basically a perfume about church communion. Okay. I know, that's kind of cool. I do like some of their viewpoints on things, like, or their scents are interesting. That's what I like about it. They really put a lot of thought into their individual perfumes, and they're not like just churning them out to churn them out. They're really thinking about it, and I kind of really respect that. So let's see what this looks like. I am curious. Now, can't really, oh, you can smell, oh yeah, a little something. But we're going to do 2 squirts on the wrist and then 2 here, removing that hair because we don't want that in case it doesn't go well, but we'll see. Whoops. Okay. So that is a little bit over the, these are a little bit tricky. Yeah, they're a little bit stiff. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, wow. Ooh. Okay. So it kind of reminds me of a cherry Vicks vapor rub. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a vapor rub. So if you have congestion, a cold or whatever, you put it on your chest, and the smell of it, because it's intense, basically opens up your sinuses and just, it kind of helps you out. And yeah, so it has this very medicinal Vicks vapor rub. you know, when you know, it has that smell to it. But it also has cherry, so it's the cherry version. Or you have Vicks vapor rub and you have like a cherry like a cherry cough drop in your mouth. So that's what this is kind of reminding me of. It's very medicinal. Not what I was expecting. So that's just surrounding me. So let's actually see it on the skin versus here. Yeah, very medicinal. You know what it is? What it is it's the incense. It's the incense mixed with cinnamon. That's what it is. So the cherry note is there, but it's really buried. So what you're getting is a huge punch of cinnamon mixed with the incense. Those are the two notes that are fighting each other right now, just really battling it out. Interesting. Let's see if it's different, because it sometimes morphs differently, of course, on your chemistry versus fabric. This smells like an old wooden church with cinnamon. So you're chewing cinnamon gum and you walk into a Gothic church. Ooh. Ooh, that's interesting. It actually almost smells the same. It's just here more cinnamon comes through, and on my skin scent, it really loves the incense. Yeah, so this is kind of taking me to Europe. Yeah, this is kind of taking me to Europe a little bit. I've been there quite a bit, and I love, one of the things I love the most is not the most, but it's in my top 20 things. I love it. Is probably Gothic churches. I love Gothic churches. I don't care how many I've seen on a trip, and some people are like, you've seen one, you've seen them all. No. I don't care how big, how small, how newish. Well, there wouldn't be newish. They're all around the same time period, but I don't care. I love them all. I love them. I can't choose favorites. Maybe I can a little, but I love them. I love Gothic churches. I love the smell of them. You can smell the age of them. There's that coldness. So when you walk in, even if it's warm, it's always chilly in there because of the materials that are used. So it's chilly, and you have the candles burning and the incense, and it just has this very specific scent. So this is very much a Gothic church, except you have some cinnamon gum on you. You're like, oh, I just had lunch, so I'm going to pop in some cinnamon gum and I'm going to check out a Gothic church. This is what this is right now. Yeah. Here, ooh, it's almost completely incense with just a little bit of cinnamon. My skin loves the incense notes. It really does. And here it's incense and cinnamon mixed. Yeah, more so. This is a nice balance, while this is just incense. So this is really lovely if you enjoy those scents. It's an interesting twist on your incense. You've smelled incense in so many perfumes, but what's nice about it is this one actually smelled like, some of them you get the myrrh and frankincense. This just smells like what I think of as incense. Yeah. And they may be made of that, but this just, I don't know, there's a very particular smell when you go into the Gothic churches. And this nails it. So it's interesting though, because I'm not getting the cherry too much, or the cherry wine. That may change with time. But the cherry communion wine, labdanum, melted wax I'm not getting. The church incense I am getting. Extinguished candle hot musk. I mean, I am getting the smokiness, yes. So the extinguished candle I am getting, there is that sense of smokiness. I just kind of take it to just the incense and the smoke. But yeah, I can see what they're saying with that. It's kind of like you light the incense, or you light the candle when you're in these churches, and if you want to, and there you go. And it's that scent. It's just the cinnamon. The cinnamon is just a note I did not expect, and it's not a bad thing at all. I don't mean it as a bad thing. It's just I've never seen that in an incense scent like this. So it may be there, but not so prominent. So that's really interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear this for about an hour, and we'll revisit it, because I'm curious to see where it goes. Because moving my hands around and this swaying, I'm getting that cinnamon, and I love cinnamon, and I love cinnamon candy, and I'm getting that. It's just with a Gothic church. So unique. I mean, it isn't necessarily the most unique. It's just the cinnamon aspect makes it that. So it's just interesting. It's so much more cinnamon and then incense in the back seat, and here it's incense and and hot tamales. There you go in the front. People are like, what are hot tamales? They're cinnamon candies. So there you go. Or they're hot tamales. It's a Mexican dish. You get those tamales, but it's also a candy. So we're going to revisit this in an hour because I'm curious to see where it morphs, because I'm just curious. Okay, so it has been an hour and here we are. I can still, without even smelling it, like directly, get whiffs of this. And a lot of it is more of a cinnamon scent. When I first put it on, it was a lot stronger, but what I'm seeing with these are that they're more intimate scents, so they're going to be in a bubble like this. So if you like a little bit more power, projection, you would need to put on more, but I even think with that being said, that these aren't necessarily powerhouses. I don't think that's what they were meant to be. I think they're just supposed to be more like this. So with that being said, let's check those the notes to see where they're at now. So again, your chemistry is always going to play a huge part in this. On my body chemistry, this definitely, and I think there's no way to really avoid this to a degree, it's just what other notes come out. I smell like a cathedral. I smell like a Gothic church. A Gothic church with hints of cinnamon. Yep. Yeah, Gothic church with hints of cinnamon. And the thing is, it's just that incense, but again, it's a very smoky incense. And I think that's supposed to be like the candle being blown out, or, you know, the hot, like, candle. So and I get that. So I definitely get that aspect of where it's like, definitely a candle either being blown out. There's that smokiness to the incense or the match lighting. Very interesting, very nice too. So let's check it out here. Okay, so here it's more cinnamon. Yeah, so on the clothing it's cinnamon with a light, very light hint of incense. Yeah, well, not light, it's just predominantly incense still here with a hint of cinnamon, and here it's cinnamon with a hint of incense, which actually works well because when you move around, you're getting the mix together. So unlike zoologists, they could be completely different. Zoologist perfumes could be completely different here on your chemistry versus on clothing and things, because there's like sometimes 12 to 19 different notes. With this, because there's less notes, they usually seem to stay between like 5 and 7. You're not going to get a mishmash as much or something too much different here versus here. A little bit. Certain notes may come out more on your skin than if it was on fabric, but they're still within the same area, the same wheelhouse. They're right there. So, yeah. But it's still quite lovely, and I'll get whiffs of it as I walk around. But it definitely is about 50% less what it was when I first sprayed it. But that being said, it's a really nice, beautiful bubble of smell, and I'm definitely enjoying it. It's not too cloying. At this point, I was worried when I first sprayed it because it was very medicinal, but the medicinal went away pretty quickly. And even though I am getting that incense and that cinnamon, there's also a sweetness to it, like a rich sweetness. And I think that's the wine notes coming through. Yeah. So incense, cinnamon, and the sweet smell of wine in the background. The thing is, because cinnamon and incense are so strong, the cherry wine or the wine notes basically, they get lost a little. Not lost. They're definitely not lost. It's more of they get incorporated into the scent more to where you're not as aware of it, because the other two notes are more the star, but this one is underneath. It's right there, quietly peeking beneath the other two. So there you go. So I'm going to come back in either 3 or 4 hours, depending on how well this wears. If it stays about here, I'll check back in 5. But if it starts to disappear more, then we'll check in a little bit earlier for our final thoughts. Okay, so that's it. That is 5 hours with the perfume from Clue with the Candlestick. So it's still in this personal space bubble, but what I will say is that I still get whiffs of it here and there when I'm moving. So though it may not be a big, a big projection or sillage type perfume where everybody's going to be smelling it, it's one of the, I'm just finding with these that they just tend to be an intimate space type perfume. And that's okay too. It just depends what you like. But I could definitely still smell it. But if you want it to go back to something that you could share a little bit more or catch more whiffs of, then you're probably going to have to put this on every 4 hours, which lately with a lot of perfumes that tends to be the standard nowadays. So there you go. You have to see if that's worth it for you or not. But that being said, you can definitely still smell whiffs of it, but mostly on the clothing. So we're going to check it on the skin first. And now it pretty much is an incense and a cinnamon wine. like cherry. I can smell the cherry actually underneath it. Yep, the cherry. So what's happening is the cinnamon isn't as strong. The cinnamon has faded. It's there, but it's not as strong. And then you have the wine or the cherry notes or wine notes with the incense. So it's really quite nice. So it has altered a little bit from beginning to 1 hour to where it is now. So let's check it out here. Okay, so on clothing, it's more incense. So the incense is still there. And then you have the cherry or wine underneath that. So more cherry here with smoky incense, and then here smoky incense with the cherry or wine notes. So yeah, in the end, everything kind of, as it moved along, stayed in the same sphere. It didn't, I know with other perfumes, sometimes it'll go completely different with the notes on skin versus on clothing, but it all stayed right in the same family, and the notes were pretty obvious as to what they're listed. So what do I think of this one? I think in some ways you're either going to love it or hate it because it's very much a scent that some people will probably know. It's very Catholic Church. It's very cathedral. I've smelled this so many times. Like I said, when traveling through Europe, this is, you open those doors and you get this scent. The only thing you won't get normally is for me at least, I'd like to smell that, but you don't get the wine or the cherry. But I think part of it is if you're having like communion wine or something like that, then maybe this would evoke all that. And so there you go. Some people may go, I get enough of that, or I lived it, I'm good. And other people might be really intrigued by it. The incense is very smoky, but it kind of makes sense because if you go into like a Gothic church, and that's my experience with this scent profile, it smells just like going into a cathedral. It really is. It just really kind of took me back because I've been to so many. I love them. I photographed them all. I love them. Just beautiful structure. Gothic's one of my favorite structures in the world. I love it. So this has that scent of when you go in. It really takes you into that space. So I love it for that reason. Do I necessarily want to smell like that? Once in a while. Yeah, why not? It's very spicy. The cinnamon adds an interesting take to it. And for me, it really came through. It was good and a little bit unexpected, which I do enjoy that, but I could see how it throws some people off where they'd be going, but why? But for me, I'm like, I liked it. Scents like this are pretty common in a lot of ways. What makes this different is the cinnamon aspect and the fact that I'm telling you, the incense, usually when I smell incense in fragrances, it's the myrrh, frankincense, which incense in a lot of ways can be, but this is the exact smell of what you smell when you go into a Gothic church. Like this incense is exactly that smell. The other ones I smell don't tend to be exactly like this. So to me, that's a little bit crazy. So that makes it different, the smokiness of it along with the cinnamon. So it just depends what you're kind of looking for. What would I give this on a scale of 1 to 10? I would give this one, for me, probably around a 7.5, 8, maybe an 8 actually. I do actually find this one intriguing, and throughout the day I would keep sniffing myself, so I think I'm going to kick this up to an 8 because I do like the elements that were added that separate it from the rest of the scents like this. Really nice, full-bodied, even if it's just around your space. I liked it, and I kept smelling and going, I love this. Yeah, I found with warm bulb as well, these tend to stay on in your personal, really personal space bubble after 5 hours even. They will stay for the rest of the night. Like when I tried a warm bulb, it was like 8, 9 hours, 10 hours later, and I could still smell it, but it was only here and like here if I was doing this. I talk with my hands a lot, so I could definitely still smell it. It's just, again, it's going to be a personal space thing, and that's fine too. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. Yeah, there's only 2 more scents left, but I have to be honest with you, I'm really excited by this. I feel like thus far it's been a good show, and I'm excited to see what these 2 do. And then once we smell them, we will rank these all and talk about Clue one more time and wrap it up until their next scent, which I am excited to see what it'll be. So with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.